Released in 2013, Geometry Dash is a platformer and a rhythm game. Exploding in popularity in 2014, what made the game fun is that you could play levels made by other players. Geometry Dash has been kept alive with the community levels. Immense creativity from the creators keeps the game feeling fresh. A great example of this is Serpunch's Altergame series, released in 2016. In this series, Serpunch would create impressive minigames within the level editor. The 11th installment of this series was a simple game where you could change directions with the up key and move with the spacebar. This level was different to the others, as you could beat this level sooner than necessary, meaning speedrunning time. This level has two categories: any percent, where you just beat the level as fast as possible, and 100%, where you try to beat the level as fast as possible while getting all 3 coins. The first recorded run was Viper's 100% 80-second run on the day of the release. The run went as followed. You would go back at the beginning of the level to get the first coin. Then you would go down to avoid the bomb in the future. After that, you would go down this path to grab the coin and then continue the level. This is the most critical part of the run, as this is where the most time could be saved and the most time could be lost. Depending on the time where you got to this section, you would either go through entrance number 1 or entrance number 2. Similarly, you could either go through the way out number 1 or the way out number 2. Viper's run had an E1W1 path, followed by some unoptimal movement. After that, he slowly goes around the finish line to get the third coin. You can tell here that he has to wait. Although this run was done in the first day and obviously had some optimization problems, it went on to stand for a long time because nobody was speedrunning this. On December of the same year, 2017, Fred had the fastest completion of the level. Although his run was very sloppy, he had the record as nobody was playing the level to speedrun it yet. They just wanted to showcase the looks of the level, so most people just got the 3 coins and didn't do the fastest route. Fred's reign did not last for long though, because the category would soon be added to speedrun.com. Speedrun.com, being the hub of records, brought attention to the level. Bacterial Dubston set the new standard for records by getting a 44-second any percent run and a 74 seconds run on 100%. Unfortunately, these runs were lost as the replay system, was discontinued later that year. Not to worry though, as Noob shattered those records about a month later. Noob's run was extremely good. This velocity in the turns was something we had never seen before. Not only would he turn fast, but he would also turn in the exact pixels not to crash. Noob lines himself up for an entrance number 1 and the way out number 1. Then he aligned himself before getting the booster so he would be able to enter the turns without a problem. And then he just paced to the finish line with bombs exploding in the background like he was James Bond. 2 days later, he would also break the 100% record. Just like in Viper's run, he would go back for the coin, but he would turn down after getting it. This results in the same time, but an easier setup. Going into the corridor for the second coin, it was discovered that with a precise turn, it could be collected with less pixels. Since he got to the moving block sooner than anyone had before, he used an E2W2 path, which hadn't been done before. He didn't turn down to get the potion as there was a risk of him dying if he did so, and it wouldn't save him any time. Then finishing with some very tight turns and optimal movement, he clocked in at 70 seconds. Noob changed the route, had very precise movement, and found new ways to collect the coin for this record. And it wasn't for no reason, as this run would go untied and unbeaten for 2 years. Noob himself commented that he thought a 69-second run was possible. With all the perfect movement, trying to beat this record was a daunting task. And 2 years later, the record was still unbeaten. And this is where your boy comes in. My strategy came in realizing Noob barely edged out of a 69 seconds run, so I just needed to replicate his run while doing one more pixel perfect turn he didn't do. The beginning of my run was like any other that had been world record at that point. I didn't go for the coin trick as I figured out that it actually doesn't save any time, as you still have to wait for the moving rock. I did an E2 W1 path, which actually doesn't save any time or doesn't lose any time, it's just a different route. Coupled with all the prior and some more pixel perfect turns, this was the world record. I was happy with this run. It was one of my first records, and foolish me thought it was a good run. But see, what separates us mere mortals from legends, like our next record holder, is the ability to shatter records. Lennon was a Norwegian iOS Geometry Dash speedrunner. To say he's accomplished is an understatement. Like he had a habit of doing, he found a new trick in this level, and executed it perfectly. Lennon broke the record by 3 seconds as he discovered an incredibly precise route to save time. To understand how this was done, let's dissect the inputs. When he arrived at the moving rock part, he wouldn't go down to the bottom part. Instead, he would take the shortest path, but for this to save time, he would need very precise inputs. At this point in the turn, you would change directions and immediately let go of the moving button. Then you would change directions 3 times and press move again, all in a quarter of a second. All of this so you could narrowly miss the moving rock. Naturally, with the extremely precise nature of this trick, 19 out of 20 attempts would end like this. 2 days later, he would also beat my 100% record, by 4 seconds. There wasn't any changes to the 100% route at the beginning of the level. The second coin was gotten just like in my run. The optimizations obviously came in the moving rock part, where the trick was done again. He shaved off other fractions of seconds by doing the direction changes faster and doing more pixel perfect turns. Both of Lindim's times were amazing. It's crazy seeing a simple Geometry Dash level be optimized to such level. Lennon is still at the top of the leaderboards, where his run is only matched by none other than Doom. Given that the time can only be improved by intervals of 1 second, this is most likely going to be the Glass Joe of Geometry Dash.